real-time situations or the practical situations for that matter. So there are questions in the NSO question paper that need thorough analysis, and even if you know the concept, you'll be able to not apply it into the question directly, but you'll have to think of the particular concept into the practical situation, and how exactly you can use it into the real-time scenario, right? Afterwards, most importantly, how is Olympiad conducted, right? A lot of you have gone through the things, a lot of you are going through the research onto your part, a lot of you are looking forward to, oh, my teachers would tell me, so here we are, right? So Olympiad examinations at school level are competitive examinations, and they're based on the school syllabus, which are conducted through various independent organizations for that matter. And these give exposure to the students about the competition, and they basically make you ready to face any sort of competitive challenge that would be thrown upon you later in the life and all, right? But going ahead with the syllabus, there are different paths, there are different sort of subjects, okay? If we talk about the NSO in particular, your languages could be multiple. The one which is very predominant is English. The exam level is almost intermediate because you have to look through for, all the students who are a little medium at the level, who are like super good, who are a little below average, right? And NSO is conducted just once a year. So you've got like one shot at this. So you have to give it your all kind of thing, right? And it is conducted by the Science Olympiad Foundation, right? So I suppose that you might have gone through the exam dates and eligibility and application pattern and admit card and all that stuff. If not, you can go to the various sites that are there, okay? But for now, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek over it, or a little preview about it for that matter. Right, as I've already told you, the frequency of exam is once a year, and conducting body Science Olympiad Foundation. The languages predominant is English for that matter, and the exam, Olympiad exam, is mostly offline. Nowadays, COVID situation, new variants coming on, the Omicron variant. I suppose all of you must have heard about it. One more thing, you have a lot of questions which are related to the ongoing conditions as well into the NSO. Because you're in sixth grade, it might not be much relevant to you, but it doesn't harm you to learn all of that stuff. So basically, you can go by and just always relate to the present day scenario that is there. So yeah, right now it could be conducted online as well. Of course, the exam duration is just going to be 1 hour. Okay. Now, that being said, to apply for the NSO, you have to basically, let's say, into the top tiers of your school. Okay. And yeah, application fee and rest of the things, I think it's a pretty easy information that you can go ahead and find it out from anywhere. But the sort of things, that sort of questions that would be coming of this particular ranking test would be your science, then there'll be your achievers section, then there'll be your logical reasoning. Okay, so for sixth graders particularly, they'll be like, first of all, you'll be going through the logical reasoning. My bad. First of all, there'll be the logical reasoning, and then you'll be going through the science question that includes your physics, chemistry, and biology. And into the logical reasoning, most of the times it's the mathematical questions. And then you have the achievers section as well, right? So yeah, that being said, I have a lot of, there are a lot of NSO ebooks that would be provided to you by your teachers, or you can access them yourselves as well. NSO sample papers of books are pretty important to have. Okay. I suppose I've spoken more than enough on what is Olympiad, or how it is conducted, if it is easy or not, how to prepare for it, a lot of stuff. So what we are going to do right now is go through a few of the questions to see what sort of, let's say, the situations you might face, or what sort of sample papers which are available for you to practice. It's very important to, test the waters, if they're too cold, if they're too deep. It's super important for that. Right. So we are going to go through that now, first of all, because you're sixth graders, doesn't mean the exam is going to be too difficult or if it is going to be too easy for you. What I would suggest you to do is, practice as much as you can. The number of questions in the logical reasoning part, you're going to have about 10 marks per question is one in all the parts. So into the second part, the science, you're going to have like 35 questions, and into the achievers section, you're going to have about 5 questions. Okay. Logical reasoning, as I told you, there'll be like a number of questions which would be going mostly to the mathematics section. Okay. So we can do one thing right now. We'll be going ahead with the sample papers, and I'll be sharing the screen with you people. Okay. If you want, you can have the link of this particular section of the OneNote through the support, and you can contact us guidance. Okay. So here we are. And let me just give you the questions first of all. In the logical reasoning, mathematical questions. So first of all, because I'm the biology tutor, yay, we're going to go through the science questions first of all. Okay. And since in the sixth grade, you don't necessarily have the bifurcation of the physics, chemistry, and science, you'll be having all those questions mixed up. There'll be no different section. As for the people who have been taking coachings and all with the Ask IITians or Akash Institutes or FITG, whatever you might be going for, you have studied a lot of topics into a lot more detail. So it might not be much necessary for you to, partake the part into organizing stuff, because that you're getting already. The students who are doing it on their own, I'm telling it to you that you might not get the separate sections. You're going to get everything all muggled up. Okay. So we are going to start with a few questions like this one here, as how exactly you're using different parts of the food, how you're using the different parts of the plants of the food. Okay. As I said, all you have to do is to go ahead with the questions in a little practical manner so you don't confuse yourself there. Okay. Now, the question that I have put over here is, we use different parts of different plants as food source. This comes from the topic, this comes from the chapter. There are 2 chapters related to this in the 6th standard. Where does the food come from and the different components of food. So refer to the labeled diagram, the figure of a typical plant, and select the option that correctly matches an edible part of the plant with the example. Okay, so you have the Q, you have P, S, R, and T. Right? So if you look at this particular question, what you have to see is that how exactly you can relate the question to the real life scenario, and how do you consume your foods, how do you observe the chapters, the topics, the concepts into your daily life routine as well. Okay. For example, the P part is basically the flour, and it stays into the option A as broccoli. No, we don't eat the broccoli's flour, right? Then Q is cinnamon. Again, cinnamon, we use the sticks of the cinnamon. We do not use the buds of the cinnamon. So this is incorrect. Okay, nada. Then we have R as cabbage. R is basically the stem. Cabbage is not a stem, right? Then we have S as chili. S is the leaf here. So chili is not a leaf. And so this option is also wrong. Then we have T is cabbage and U as spinach. Again, T is the leaf and U are the root. So no, spinach is a leaf and cabbage is cabbage. Cabbage is a fruit. Okay, it's like a vegetable. And then Q is the clove. Sure. Clove is the one which basically is used we use the buds of the clove, okay, and we use the fruits of the clove that are there. And then we have the lettuce. Lettuce is T, which is the leaves. So basically, we have the option D as the correct one. See? So that is how you look for the options. That is how you go by the questions. So you basically have them into your real life situations, scenarios, and routines, and you go by that. So that was one question related to the food components or the plant components that are there. The next question that we have is what sort of adaptations does the organism show? Okay, so this comes on to the chapters which are later on present in your sixth grade, which basically go by the animals. Okay, so what adaptations does this organism show? The one which is present right here. So we have strong hind leg muscles, hollow bones, webbed feet, both B and C. For this, you have to see what organism this is. This is a bird. What kind of bird is it? It looks like a duck. What do the ducks do? They swim and they fly. Now, how exactly would a duck be able to swim? A duck would be able to swim if they had webbed feet. Okay, webbed feet are the feet which have this sort of shape. Okay, the shape where there's a membrane in between the toes so that water can be pushed while swimming, either forward or backward, depends on which direction you're swimming in. Okay, so yes, it does have the webbed feet, but oh, look, it flies as well. So, how exactly is it going to fly? That is going to fly if it has the hollow bones. I think from fourth grade onwards, you start to learn how exactly the birds have hollow bones, which helps them into flying, right? So, because the duck is flying as well, it is going to have the hollow bones to reduce the weight which is put onto its wings. Okay. Although it is flying for like very short distances, but for those short distances as well, it is going to require the hollow bones, right? So we have the answer here as D, which is both B and C, right? That being said, we have other questions as well, which depends upon to the diet. Okay, diet as in remember the chapter components of food. So there's a lot of things which you can encounter in your daily life. There's a lot of things which can go by and compare with whatever you must have seen. Okay, so the one which we are going to look at right now, this question comes from the fact that we need to have balanced diet into our food onto the daily basis so that we don't fall ill or we don't have deficiencies. Again, these questions, they are related to your daily life, that so they might boggle your mind for that matter, but that is the whole point. Okay, you need to learn how to see these things into your daily life as well, right? So we are going to go by this question. Rohit's father experienced a heart attack. Doctor told him that his blood vessels have become narrower. What could be the reason for this? Right? The thing is, if you relate to the situation, the blood vessels have become narrower and they are asking for the reason. And this question is related to the diet. Now, if you remember, there are like multiple components of a diet. We have the fats, we have your proteins, we have your oils that comes under the fats, we have your carbohydrates, right? We have your nucleic acid, your DNA, RNA. We have your vitamins, and there's nutrients, right? Minerals, basically. So His diet has an excess of roughage and water. Again, roughage and water is basically so you can poop properly. Okay. So if there's a lot of water, if there's a lot of roughage, that helps you that helps into proper bowel movements, and that helps in properly getting rid of the undigested waste material that you might have into your body. So this option is a big no. His diet lacks proper amount of vitamins and minerals. Again, the vessels are becoming narrower, right? If the vitamins and minerals are there, mostly we have the deficiency symptoms of the vitamins and minerals, like you can have beriberi, you can have rickets, you can have night blindness. Those are the deficiencies of different vitamins. His diet, so this option is also a big no. His diet has an excess of fats and carbohydrates. Ooh, this is an interesting option, because if we look at the fats are mostly deposited in your body as a source of energy. And if you're eating fats in a lot of amount, that basically is going to lead to you becoming obese. Okay. Because all those fats, they are going to get deposited into your body over time underneath your skin, although they would be acting like a blubber to protect your body heat, but then they'll also be making you obese, difficult for you to move around, difficult for you to move a walk, like run a walk, and it'll be difficult for your body to have a proper metabolism as well. Now, ma'am, what is metabolism, if you might ask? Metabolism is basically how your body proceeds with different reactions which are happening inside, your breathing, your digestion, your excretion, and all those different sort of activities which are going on into the body. This could be a prospect answer. Next thing we have is diet lacks proper amount of proteins and carbohydrates. Again, proteins are the building blocks of the body, right? So they are going to build the body. They do not have anything to do with the narrowing or broadening with the vessels. So the correct answer over here will be that his diet has excess of fats and carbohydrates. Those fats are deposited onto the insides of those blood vessels, onto the lumen of those blood vessels, and that has led to the fact of blood not being flowing through the vessels properly, blood not being reaching to the heart or the other parts of the body properly. In Rohit's father case, it is the heart. Okay, so that is going to lead to the heart attack. For a lot of people, you might confuse heart attack with other things as well. So let me explain the heart attack situation. Heart attack is when your heart muscles do not get oxygen, don't get enough oxygen. And O2 is the symbol for the oxygen, kids, okay? Do not get enough oxygen, and they get destroyed or harmed, okay, in a manner that it is very difficult to, get them back, bounce them back. So when that happens, your heart stops pumping blood, stops pumping blood, right? Now, that being said, we have multiple other questions as well, right? Again, we might have other questions which would be related to your physics and chemistry as well. Let's say we talk about a question related to the recycling of water. Okay, that will be a little different question than biology, and it could be helpful for you people as well, so that you can know how different subjects are going to have the questions. So we can recycle water by, again, we are talking about the recycling of the water over here, right? So you'll have to think into the manner of what water is, how is it or when is it used, where is it present. Okay, so we can use the water, we can recycle water by reusing the water from washing clothes to cook. Yeah, I don't think you'd be washing the clothes with the water and then using all that water with the surfactants and all the soap mix into the cooking, because that is a big no-no. So that is not a correct option. Then we have discharging factory waste into canals and seas. You do not discharge, you 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 basically do not discharge the factory waste into the canals and seas, because that is going to lead to the harming of your wildlife and of the seas, basically all your fishes, your different water plants, all the water aquatic flora, fauna. And then we have the discharging sewage and waste materials into the ocean. Discharging the sewage and waste materials of the oceans, again, a big no-no. It is going to harm your aquatic flora and fauna. And then there's none of these. So into this question, as we can see, there is not even a single option which is helping us in recycling the water. So you see, questions are not as tough, but questions won't be as easy as well. Okay. For now, let me discuss a few questions from the another section, the achievers section as well, so that it will be easier for you to attempt those, because you'll know what sort of questions you might encounter in that particular part of the paper as well, right? So observe the given diagram carefully and fill in the blanks. Into this diagram, what you're observing is different states of matter to which the water goes. Okay. So if you look at the particular question, you see there's ice, there's water vapor, and there's steam. Because we have the different states of matter the water is going through, you will be thinking through about the different processes which are responsible for that particular state of matter of the water. Okay, if it is liquid, if it is gas, if it is solid. Okay, ice being the solid, water being the liquid, and water vapor being the gaseous form. Okay. So we're going to all of these one by one as well to see how exactly it goes by. So you see, we have T, ice to water, freezing. Okay, this can happen. Then we have freezing. This can happen. Ice to water is freezing. Yeah, that's a big no-no, my bad. So you cannot convert ice into water by freezing. You can convert water into ice by melting. You can convert water into ice by freezing, not ice into water. So both A and B options are incorrect, because both go by ice converting into the water by freezing. So that is like wrong. That is incorrect. What we have is the option C and D, which we are left with, which goes by the melting part. So ice can go and convert into the water by melting. That is correct. Okay, we are looking at the option C right now. And then there's Q. Q is when water is going to form the steam. If you look at this particular arrow over here, when water is going to convert into the steam. So how can you convert the water into the water vapors or the steam? You can basically go by and boil it. Okay. So yeah, Q can be boiling, right? And then we have the condensation. Condensation being the R. So if you see where the R is, it is the steam being directly converted into the water. Steam is directly converted into the water. That is quick condensation. That is quickly lowering down the temperature. Okay, so yes, R is condensation. Then we have S as freezing. Now, if you look at the arrow of the S that goes from water to ice. So you are going to convert water into ice by freezing itself, right? When you're lowering down the temperature below the 0 degrees Celsius or till the 0 degrees Celsius. And then we have evaporation, which is water to water vapor. That is evaporation. When you're not boiling the water per se, you're not converting it into the steam, but you're like letting it sit. And it is because of the normal temperature, the room temperature that there is, it is just going to evaporate over a span of few hours, few days, few minutes, depending upon to the amount of water that there is. So C is the correct option over here into the Achievers section. So congratulations, you have been doing pretty good with the Achievers section as well over here, right? And there are a few questions for the logical reasoning as well, right? Let me put in a question which you might find a little interesting and which comes from the logical reasoning. Okay. We'll try to solve that question as well. Okay. So here we are. This comes if A stands for add and B stands for subtract, then 4, remember, A stands for adding, B stands for subtracting. So 4A, 3B, 3A, 2 equals to what? So we have 4 plus 3 minus 3 plus 2 equals to what? 4 plus 3 is equals to 7. 7 minus 3 is equals to 4. 4 plus 2 is equals to 6. So I think we've got an answer over here. The correct answer is option 6. Right? That is one of the questions from the logical reasoning, which is pretty easy if you ask me, right? So if you practice enough, I promise you're going to do super good into all these sort of questions you might see, all the different sort of, what do we call it, NSO or, other exams as well. We have other questions as well, which we'll be discussing. See, these sample papers, you can find them for free anywhere. Okay. So all I need you to either get a book or to practice whenever you can, however much you can, and especially after revising a concept, just to see how well it sits into your mind. So the question is, how many meaningful words can be made from the letters A, E, M, L using each letter only once in the each word? So again, I'm going for the questions of logical reasoning here to help you understand the level of questions a little better, and then we can jump onto the science questions. Okay. So, how many meaningful words can be made from the letters A, E, M, and L? And we have to use every letter only once. First and foremost trick for all the questions, for all the exams that you have to take, always read the question very carefully, always understand what the question actually demands of you. Okay. So A, E, M, L, and you have to use every single letter once. Okay. So let's just go ahead and try to make the words. You can have male, that's one word, and you can have lame, that's another word, or you can also think about food here. So I think meal, right? So all you have to do is study a bit your English part and try to increase the vocabulary and try to, try to solve as many jumbled up words as you can, those sort of questions, because one question of this kind is always going to be there into the exam, no matter what you do. So like this is one of those questions which is always there, only with like different forms or different letters. So I think the kind of words that we could make over here was just 3. So I think option D is the correct answer. Or you can go ahead with, arranging the words in a meaningful order as well. For that, again, you'll have to go by and the think of the question in the practical scenario, in the real life routine, into the daily things of how exactly are you going to, how people exhibit such sort of characteristics or traits how people talk about things which are asked into the question. So let's say this question, see this these kind of questions are always offbeat. Okay, they're going to catch you off guard, and that is why you'll have to, always be onto your alert, let's say phase, and onto your toes while solving the questions, always thinking about the all sort of possible answers or possible cases in your mind. So let's say this question that we have here is, arrange the following words into a meaningful order: gold, iron, sand, platinum, and diamond. So there could be multiple meaningful orders, right, onto which the question has asked the arrangement of these components which are given. These different uh, iron, diamond, metals, and sand, all of these are given. So if you look at it, these are given in a manner of, let's say, arrangement of this is given in a manner of importance, because if we would have it into the manner of making up of these components, it would have started with the silver, like it would have silver as well, but all it has is iron. It has different, and it also has metals, it has sand, it is also the compressed elements, right, the diamond, the carbon elements that are there. So I think what we have to do over here is, we basically have to arrange them in the manner of importance, or we have to arrange them in the manner of pricing, which is very much important, right? So what is more important? We have the sand. So as in, what is the least important? My bad. We have the sand, which is on option 3. We have, let's say, iron, which is on option 2, which is a little more, pricey than sand. Then we have gold. Gold is a little more important than the iron. Then we have diamond. Diamond is super important, but then we have platinum. So platinum is the most expensive metal on the earth. It is very beautiful, it's very strong, it has a lot of better properties. So the answer that we have is 32154. So now which of these options match? Our answer is, I suppose, A, right? So that is how you solve the questions. You see, uh, if you solve these questions over time, and if you participate in such competitive exams over time, you will be able to observe how your mind has progressed, how you have such a creative, how you have such a critical thinking ability as well. So it'll be a lot easier for you to, let's say, go through the situations. It'll be a lot easier for you to go through the competitive exams when you grow up, because you'll already would be having, because you'll already have a different outlook onto these exams. So yeah, that being said, it was fun being with you people, and I'll be back with more of these sessions, but next time it will be for the 7th grade. So tune in, you guys, and it'll be fun watching you people come back, and it'll be fun solving more of questions with you people. So yeah, I guess that's all, and you guys take care, stay safe, and keep on practicing. So bye bye, you guys, take care.